Okay, so as I told Virgo, please check that out. If you have any Virgo placements, you might want to check out that video as well. But the King of Cups, yes, when the court card shows up, it as an underlying energy, it's usually the energy of the person that I'm reading for. But some of you may be dealing with a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, someone who has those energies, if they're very central to your story. Now, I do see the King of Cups as being like the ideal lover. So it may be that this is your kind of, you've have this very clear idea of who you want to be in a relationship with. It doesn't have to be a romantic reading. It's a general reading, right? So the energies can go any which way. This guy knows how he feels, but still waters run very deep with him. He doesn't always show how he's feeling. So either you or someone that you're dealing with may be doing that. You know, they have deep emotions. They know how they're feeling, but they're not saying how they're feeling. Now, the King of Cups, he will say it. When he's ready, he will say how he's feeling. I think for a lot of you, this is something to do with either something that makes you very happy, like it can be work, or, you know, something that you've been trying to manifest from your emotions. Because we have a few cards of manifestation here. One's energy for me is manifestation, and Pentacles is when it becomes physical, right, in our lives. So you have that coming up as a clear storyline. But this is about knowing how you feel, not being afraid to express it. The King of Cups is very loving, very nurturing energy, healing energy. Like this can be the spiritual advisor kind of card. Where does this emotion go? What's coming of it? Well, we have the Three of Wands. This is a card of manifestation for me, but this is like the result of what we manifest when it comes back to us. Because you can see this person here, I don't know if you can see it clearly. She's sat there and she's waiting. She's looking down the path, and usually it's someone looking out to sea, right? Waiting for their ships to come in. But she's kind of looking out. I think that's a road. It might be the sea as well, like, you know, a stream or a lake. I like to think of it as a road, just to change it up a little bit. So you have, you know, what is she waiting for? She knows what she's waiting for. She knows something is coming. So what are you waiting for? Because with the Three of Wands, it says, yes, waiting for something to come in, but you know what to expect. It's never a surprise. Whatever comes in with the Three of Wands, we know what it is that we're expecting to come in. The Three of Wands can indicate news that we're waiting for, a message from someone, you know, that we're waiting for something to come in. And so we'd look to here, the past, right? The foundation to see what is it that we're waiting to come in. I mean, the Magician. There's some area that you've acted very confidently in. The Magician is a card. Yes, he's a master manifester. So this can be when we've put in effort towards something to get what we want. But what does the Magician say? He says that you have everything that you need to get what you want. And the example I always give is, you know, you can go into your kitchen, you can open up the cupboard, the pantry, the larder, whatever you want to call it, and you see flour, eggs, butter, sugar, and you know that you can make a cake. You can make a cake out of those things. But just looking at the packets of the ingredients, it doesn't create a cake. You must have the confidence to combine the ingredients to make this happen. And so the Magician is a card of confidence, the confidence to use what you have to get what you want. And we can talk about law of attraction, manifestation for that, or it can be in practical terms. The Magician to me can be about communication. You know, he is a manipulator, but he manipulates a situation or the energies or the things that he has, the tools that he has at his disposal to get what he wants. And you're doing this. So if you've done this, these timed really well together. So you've done this, whatever action you've taken, whatever you've done here with the Magician energy, now you're waiting for the results of that. The Three of Wands also talks about, you know, the Ace of Wands is the initial spark or idea that we have. The Two of Wands is the direction that we take to achieve that, the action that we take there. Now we're waiting to see what comes back from that, so we know what the next step will be. What's going to be the next step that we take. Right. It's to do with something that makes you very happy, though. That's emotionally fulfilling. As much as we have, like, have a look, there's 6 cards here. 3 of them, well, one of them is a major arcana. 3 of them are wands, so half the cards are wands. And so this is manifestation energy, the action that we're taking, the energy that we're putting out into the world. So where does all of this lead? Well, it could be to do with travel. I see the Three of Wands as waiting for a message from somewhere. Maybe you've applied for a job abroad. Maybe you're in a long distance relationship, and either you're going to see someone or you're waiting for them to come and see you. You have the Knight of Wands here, and the Knight of Wands is the adventurer, the explorer, the traveler. This can be going out on a new adventure, whether literally or, you know, all of life is a journey and an adventure. So you're starting something new. Now, this could be a fire sign, which is Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. But I kind of get this as your energy, especially with all the other ones that are coming up. You might be thinking about where you want something exciting. You want something that calls for you. You want some new adventure. You want to go and explore something new. And everyone's getting this kind of shift. Like everyone wants to do something new. Like I think across the board, all signs, my clients, everyone's been getting this kind of energy to do something new. It's like freshness. I want to wrap things up and I want to go forward. Now for you, it's a little different because it feels like you've already initiated something. You've already started something. And now it's like you're waiting for whatever this is, you know, the initial result of whatever you did here, to know which direction to go in. The only kind of warning, and all of the cards, no matter how good or bad they are, they all have, you know, a kind of more positive energy and a more negative one. The downside of the Knight of Wands is that he can get bored very easily. He's always looking for the next great adventure. He doesn't stick around long enough to kind of reap the rewards of what he wants. So for some of you, you know, I'd say not for some of you, but for all of you, the advice here would be to look at how you're feeling. What is it that you truly feel? Because you do know, if you're the King of Cups, he knows how he truly feels. Let that be what kind of guides you on where you go and which direction you go in. Because some of you may be ignoring that and thinking, well, that's not fun. You know, I want fun. Or this can be someone, if you're dealing with someone else, it could be someone who comes in, leaves again, comes in, leaves again. Maybe you're waiting for them to come back in again. I talked about this in a recent podcast that I recorded about people who seem to wait for every kind of Mercury retrograde or Venus retrograde or whatever for, you know, will my ex contact me now? And I'm not getting that. I'm not getting someone coming back from the past, apart from the Knight of Wands, because this can be someone who comes in, has fun and leaves again. This might be that you are being encouraged to do that, not to go and break people's hearts or anything, but socializing more, having some fun, you know, doing something, just getting out there. Because the Knight of Wands for me, he's all about the experience. What is your experience that you're after? What experience is going to speak to your heart that's going to make you truly happy? What experience, who would you need to be? You know, everyone has a dream of who they want to be or who they want to be with, or the kind of dream job they have. Who would you need to be to experience that? Because that's what this guy talks about the most, is what is the experience that you're after? Now, I'm going to say this. There's kind of like a very distinct, if this was a love life reading for someone, what I kind of see here is, yes, someone that you might have really strong feelings for, or, you know, they have strong feelings for you. With all this Wands energy, that's going to be passion. That's passion. So there could be kind of like bedroom kind of acrobatics going on, but nothing beyond commitment. This is love and emotion that's coming in here. So it may be that you've been doing this kind of like friends with benefits thing or hooking up every now and then, but there's more emotion and feeling behind it. Somebody's catching feels here when the King of Cups shows up there. And then, you know, this is why the Seven of Wands comes up, because someone's now feeling defensive. But this is not just about, this can be say no more, that, you know, I don't want to do that anymore. I want something more solid, something that I'm more committed to. That's one very clear storyline that came up. Obviously, that's not going to apply to everyone, but that's how we can use the energies to apply them to our situation. If this is for work, it kind of feels like, yeah, work might have been, you've put in the work, you've kind of, this can be great communication when the Magician shows up. But now you want something different. You might have sent out applications for something new. You want something that's more fun. It's not even, yes, you're coming from a heart space, but it kind of feels that's what's here. You know, to be able to express your creativity, to be able to express your passions. That's what the Knight of Wands wants. But the Seven of Wands, it's, for me, it's that warrior spirit energy. It's about, you know, standing up for, what are you defending? What do you stand for? We have, with the Three of Wands above this Seven of Wands, and, you know, the combination of these two is the Ten of Wands, 7 and the 3. But this is about, say something comes back. I think it might not be exactly what you are expecting back. And that might at first throw you and you kind of feel, whoa, what's going on? Or there might be too many offers coming back. Because the Seven of Wands is, look at all the wands that are flying at him. And he's got his shield up. And it might be like, whoa, too much. You know, there's too much coming in. So you might have a problem deciding which one do I want. Again, fall back to this King of Cups energy. Your heart, your heart will guide you. Our emotions are our greatest guidance system. We know what makes us happy and what doesn't. This is all very exciting energy though. I love the Wands energy because it's excitement, enthusiasm, let's go, passion. But here it might be, have I bitten off more than I can chew? That's the Seven of Wands. But think about it. what card comes before the Seven of Wands in the tarot? The Six, which is where we can take pride in what we've done, recognition for what we've done, right? And then what comes after the Seven? It's communication, finding out more information. So this might be a little bit overwhelming, but with the Seven of, some of you might be a test that you have to take. If this is to do with your studies or for a job, there might be some kind of test, because the Seven of Wands can be a testing time, but there's nothing to show that you won't succeed when this card shows up. But what's the advice? What's the advice here? Well, the advice is the Page of Pentacles. The pages are offers or messages that we receive. And the Page of Pentacles is an offer of stability and security, something that we can, is bankable. It's bankable. Now, it doesn't always seem like a lot. It may seem like something tiny when we receive it. It's like, really? That's all I get? And there could be a sense of that coming in here. But with the Page of Pentacles, whatever this pentacle is, and I've seen this represent everything from an engagement ring, contract for a job, contract for a house, any of those kinds of things. We must look at the fine print, especially during a Mercury retrograde. Please do that. But it's like, if we explore this further, this is also the student card for me, studying something in detail. Also, I always feel like I have to say with the Page of Pentacles, there are no guarantees. There are no guarantees. This could be a younger earth sign that you're dealing with, which is Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. But I kind of look at this guy sat right up here. You can even tell by the colours. The colours are very different of the King of Cups compared to the rest of this. So the advice is, yes, look into this, but it feels like it's a solid offer, no matter, even if if you're a bit nonplussed at first when you kind of get it. And it's sat underneath the Magician. So this is something that you've asked for, you've worked towards, or you've tried to manifest. For some of you, it might be that, if there's a Knight of Wands coming in your present, you kind of see this person as unreliable, but they're actually the King of Cups. And you're not going to know it's the King of Cups unless they open their mouth and say something, right? So it kind of feels like it is stable. There is kind of love and emotion here, but you kind of perceive them for whatever reason. Maybe that's why you're defensive, because you think, oh, I don't want to get involved in a situation like that. Whoa, okay. First, let's talk about the Ace of Swords. So the Ace of Swords, it's a victory and it's a new beginning, but it's a new beginning through the truth. I kind of feel like there's a lot going on here, but it's about cutting away to the truth. There's some truth that needs to be gotten to. And I feel like it stems from this. Someone is not saying how they feel because they're not ready. They're waiting for the right time to say how they feel. That may be you. It is your message, but it's a general reading, so it can go both ways. This is about cutting to the truth, a new beginning that can come about, but only through the truth. Only through the truth being revealed. And is it to do with these two? We have the King and Queen of Pentacles. They are a great partnership. They obviously get each other because they're both, there could be an earth sign that you're dealing with, which is, like I said, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Or, this could be a business partnership, a work partnership, or just someone that they're as committed as you. They will put in as much work as you put in to a situation, to a relationship. But whenever I get the King and Queen of one suit, they are two people that are meant to be together. And I say meant to, but it's like, they will feel that bond. Think about it. Like, if it's these two, which they're a great partnership, sometimes we need opposites. So she's going to be very practical and reliable. He's going to be very emotional and, emotionally aware and be able to, they'll teach each other things. But these two, they're not going to have the same level of comfort as these two. These two get each other. These two people that, might be working very hard on their future, putting in the practical effort needed for whatever that future is, whether it's the future of a business, future of a work project, future of their relationship. But it only comes about because what's in the middle of these two? Sword of truth. It comes through clarity. The victory comes about through truth. As much as the Three of Wands, it's that kind of waiting for something to come through. You will know what you're waiting to come through because you've put in the effort. And I would encourage you with the King of Cups here to say how you feel. To say how you feel. Okay, so here we have unrequited love. There's not enough attraction or chemistry to keep this relationship going. Now, there are two kings that came up here. So it could be that, there's one person, there may be three people in this situation. So between two people, there is unrequited love. There's not enough chemistry between them. These two have undeniable chemistry because they're the same element they're coming up as. And maybe it's the perception that is going to be unrequited. So there's that wait and see energy. Well, I've done what I can. I'm just going to wait and see what happens. But we also have the Knight of Wands. Out of the out of the 4 court cards, this is the one that I would not rely on. Yeah, this one's going to be great for, you know, one night stand, date, weekend away, but you're not going to get much more than that from the Knight of Wands. So listen to what your heart's telling you, because it feels like there is an option here. And that's what the Page of Pentacles is. That's the one that sometimes we think, well, that's not much. I'm going to say this to you. You know, sometimes we can meet that person who seems to tick every box because they look the right way. You know, they're very attractive. They're gorgeous. They're fun. They're passionate. But that's all they're ever going to give us. And sometimes we have someone else who they have the whatever else we want. It all depends on what do you want? What are you expecting back? If all you want is some fun, you've got that. You will get back whatever you want. But the thing with the King of Cups here is maybe you're not saying something because you perceive this. You perceive there's not enough chemistry. But there is chemistry between these two, so there is an option there. And by saying the truth, that's how it gets revealed, because the sword of truth is between them. Someone might be looking for guarantees with that Page of Pentacles, and there are never any guarantees. I don't care which reader pulls what cards. There are never any guarantees. Anything can change. Okay, so we have rest and relaxation is essential. We all have a fundamental need to take breaks. And maybe that's what the 7 of Wands is. That, you know, everything's been coming at you. Now it's time to take a pause. I'm not really getting that so much. I'm getting that this might be maybe taking a break from this. If there's so many people and we have a lot of court cards here, if you're kind of dating around, and it doesn't even have to just be dating, I've kind of gone in the romantic thing, right? With this. So let's just I'm just stepping away from that for a moment, because I've had people say to me, what's that got to do with love? Just going back to the cards for a moment. If this is a work situation and there's a lot of people in this situation, right? It might be that you need to take a step back from that, because that Whispers of Love doesn't just talk about romantic love. We get love for the careers that we have, the work that we do. And so this might be encouraging you to go back to your heart space, look at how you're feeling, and then express from there, speak the truth from there, in your air sign wonderfulness, the way that you do it. I have no idea what's going on here, Libra, to be honest. It's just, there's so much going on. That's kind of, I feel like I could look at this reading for a long time. Okay, so we have 2 messages here, and they look very similar, right? So we have Go the Distance, and we have By the Book. By the Book is like the Hierophant card for me. And this is where we follow the rule. What rules are you following, Libra? What rules are you following? Who wrote the book? I sometimes say by the book, you might want to write your own book. Like the pen is mightier than the sword. That kind of comes up with the Ace of Swords for me. This can be writing something, you expressing yourself through words. And then we have Go the Distance. And Go the Distance says it's not a sprint. Like, you know, it's not, yes, the cheetah can sprint, but sprints for short, goes very fast for a short amount of time. It's about pacing yourself, because you're going to go the distance. And sometimes you're going to have to follow the rules, and sometimes you're going to write your own rules. I had someone complaining because I don't know which sign it was, that which one of the elements got don't colour outside of the lines for the cards, daily cards that I pulled for Instagram. And they didn't like it. It's like, nobody likes to be told what to do. Nobody likes it. But By the Book is you choose what rules you're following. You choose what rules you're following here. But it's kind of, it can get chaotic. And I can understand why there's this need for this grounding Pentacles energy. Because when there's so much Wands energy, it's like, okay, have to do this, this pressure. I need to do this. I'm going to do, you know, I don't want that coming at me. Like, it's very frantic energy. It's very fast paced energy. We can use it. But there's this kind of underlying thing of, look, whatever you've put out now, you're going to get that back. You're going to get back what you've created. Get in your heart space, express how you're feeling. And there is the correct partner who comes in, who is grounded, same as you, reliable. They'll put in the same amount of effort as you put in. It's a solid offer. Right. So what does this say? It says, dearest you, as you think, so will you experience life. Thoughts are that powerful and they need minding. Let the unruly, chaotic ones settle down. That's the chaos that I'm getting from this. Chaotic ones settle down so they serve you or get released instead of wreaking havoc. These thoughts arise when connected to the energy of fear and often masquerade as truth. Someone's afraid, like that's what I was getting for this. They're not expressing their love because, you know, they just think, well, that person's not going to like me anyway. But they still feel it because the King of Cups, he's still feeling it. He's just not expressing it because he thinks, well, the other person, how do you know? How do you know? Because if that's the case, expressing it seems to show two people who are on the same page. Sorry. These thoughts arise when connected to the energy of fear and often masquerade as truth. Yet the real truth is that essentially all is well. Of course, you have thoughts that are positive, strong, organized, accepting, creative, open, and so on. Those are the ones we want you to keep thinking, and they have a less frantic quality. They're stimulating in a good way and don't get away from you. How do you keep an inner eye on your thoughts? Meditate and leave judgment out of the mix. Maybe that's why you're being told to, take a step back. Let the kind of energy settle a little bit so you can figure out what it is that's going on here. Everyone has those fearful thoughts. Love them, love yourself, and then choose the thoughts you want the world to reflect back. Life is not as hard as you think. Loving you so much. And that's what I was getting when I was looking at this. There is a kind of frantic quality to this. But it's about trusting that confidence, right? The magician. You've done something confidently. But why are you doubting it now? Because there is all this stable earth energy coming in. That's when we can truly manifest the things that we want.